How's it going, YouTube? Hi, Drax here, and in today's video we're going to be rating all of the LFs in Dragon Ball Legends. As you can see, we have all of them laid out right here, all 28 of them. Shocking to think that there's only 28 LF units, but it's really only 28. We have all the Zenkais right on top here, and then we have every release of all the LF units right on the bottom side for Future Gohan. I did decide to split the Goku and Vegeta variations apart from each other purely because I do feel like they are two separate units mixed into one, so I will be judging them separately on what they do and how good they are. Obviously, we got the new Bardock right here, got Soda Hope Trunks, Cell, Goku, Vegeta, all the LFs are here, and obviously we're going to go straight into the tier list with first form Frieza. Honestly, Frieza is S tier for me purely because he post Zenkai, they decided to give him more damage instead of defense. If we look at his platinum equip gives him doubled pure defenses per Lineage of Evil or Frieza Force battle members. Honestly, that's really strong, and they should have doubled down on that, and in his passives post Zenkai should have given him more damage reduction and maybe more support capabilities instead of amping up his damage. Because honestly, Aloy and Frieza Force always outputted high amounts of damage, but they just didn't have a good tank. Even now, up to this day, the only really good tank on Frieza Force is going to be Robbery, and he's a red unit. So honestly, it's really poor teams that he's on that hold him back. Honestly, once Lineage of Evil finally gets that really good, really strong Goku and Vegeta type unit that's just going to decimate everything, this guy is going to go way up into Z tier because of his support capabilities, his cover change. He draws a blue card. He's not double S tier purely because of his teams, and as of right now in the meta, he's only S tier in my opinion. Okay, let's go with Goten. Goten, I feel, is heavily underestimated in Legends. Most people just got this guy Zenkai so they can buff up the purple Super Saiyan 2 Revival Gohan right there in the bottom, but as a character himself, he is extremely strong, and he works really well with FSK Gohan right here, and then the obviously the new Zenkai Super Saiyan Goku from the same movie where he's from. Those two units released at the same time alongside the blue Super Saiyan Gohan, the defense type from the movies. So that trio at one point in time was a really good trio to run, especially if you had all three of them. This Goten is heavily underestimated, and especially considering that he paralyzes on blast cards, I feel like he's going to be a very strong Zenkai in future once people actually acknowledge that he's actually a really good character. Okay, let's go with Goku. Goku is definitely double S tier for me. I don't really think he's double S tier. Maybe S tier. And the reason why I say this, pre-transformation is pretty garbage. I'm just going to say it is really garbage pre-transformation, but post-transformation he finally unlocks his ability to counter basically any attack with his blue card except for tap attacks, I believe, and tap blasts, and obviously Rising Rush. So any AoE attack, green card, he can counter that. Green cards counter, blues counter. He counters pretty much everything except for those three things. His only drawback now in the current meta is that his defenses don't hold up very well. He still does some decent damage, but because he can't tank, he's obviously taking a lot more damage than he's outputting, and his only failsafe that he really has now is his blue card, which honestly doesn't equate to much with how long he's been out. People really know how to get around him, so at this point he's only S tier, but with his Z ability, Zenkai ability to buff blue Saiyans, he's definitely going to be a staple on most Saiyan teams for probably forever actually, because he buffs double offenses. So he's going to be really good for a really long time, and he's a unique unit that has a counter blue card. I think they learned their lesson after releasing this guy, that how broken he was, and they'll probably never release another unique unit like this ever again. Piccolo is double S tier for me. Honestly, he's one of the outliers. A lot of people don't acknowledge this Piccolo just because he came at such a weird time to Zenkai. Like, we were expecting maybe like Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta right here instead of this Piccolo getting a Zenkai, or Super Saiyan 3, or whoever at the time was going to get a Zenkai, maybe even Super Vegito. But right now he's really good. He's always been really good. It's just that with Regen not getting new units, the popularity of the team hasn't been high, so you don't really see him around that much. I have seen him a little bit in PvP since Goku and Vegeta release because of the double yellow regen setup with SSJ4 Gogeta that works really well. He's really strong defensive type, but he can output huge amounts of damage, so he's definitely double S tier for me. Vegeta, definitely a Z tier unit. I don't respect the slander saying he's not Z tier. He is. If it wasn't for Goku and Vegeta and I would say Sword of Hope Trunks. Actually no, it's just Goku and Vegeta honestly. Because I believe he's probably on the same tier as this guy. If it wasn't for Goku and Vegeta, this guy would probably be around number 1 in the game, or number 2, maybe even number 3. But as of right now, he's really strong. Obviously, Mono Purple is a thing, and if he's on that team, Mono Purple or Purple characters in general have a lot of characters. He's really strong, and he gives a lot to the team with his card draw speed, ult, and obviously cover changes. So he's gonna be in Z tier for me. FSK Gohan is honestly, actually I actually should make a new tier honestly. How to add row above? Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna make a new tier just purely because I feel like FSK Gohan at one point would have been here, but he's only Z tier right now. Obviously his presence has been quote-unquote nerfed in the meta purely because of Ultra Gogeta and what he does, but don't underestimate this FSK. He has not gotten worse. It's just that a lot of people are very afraid to run him now because of Ultra Gogeta and how strong Ultra Gogeta is. In the matchup, Ultra Gogeta can just as well die against FSK once he goes neutral. But yeah, so he's still Z tier. It's just that the meta right now doesn't allow him to shine at his best. Super Saiyan 3, definitely Z tier. I still believe he's Z tier. Honestly, I believe that this guy is better than Gogeta SSJ4 at 6 stars. I really do. 7 stars. I think even at 9 stars I prefer the Super Saiyan 3 Goku just because he goes type neutral. Obviously this guy has blast armor, but this guy has a counter. He has a blue card. He has a save for my rush. Honestly, I love Super Saiyan 3 and I got him recently to Zenkai 7. And so far I love having him on the same team. Extremely tanky, extremely good unit. So he's going to be an immediate Z tier for me. Beerus is definitely around B, maybe even C tier honestly, but I'll leave it in B because he does provide a Zenkai buff and he does seal main abilities right now. Other than that, his damage and support abilities are pretty bad. I mean, being one of the first Zenkais, or probably the first Zenkai in the game, and the first LF Zenkai, it was obvious he was going to get Powercreep considering that Zenkais are probably about 2 years old now. Maybe even 3 years considering they'll be going to 4th year very soon, or maybe it's the 5th year. I think it's no, it's 4th year. Yeah, so he's pretty much going to be B tier for me. I don't really expect anyone to argue this. Maybe you want to argue he's lower, but I would give him the benefit of the doubt saying he's not completely useless right now. Vegeta's definitely S tier for me. He's not good nor bad. I feel like he's in the middle of what he's supposed to be because he did try and come out as a counter to the Hybrid Saiyans meta, but he didn't really fall that well with it. Considering that God Key just had so many yellow units, but most people will probably find just running this SSB Gogeta or Blue Gogeta. So Evolution Blue does a lot of things, and once ramped up, he can be a very dangerous unit. But his presence has been invalidated by the Vegeta variant of the Goku and Vegeta because every yellow unit just gets melted by this version of the character. So he does sink maybe into S tier, maybe into A tier sometimes. But as far as yellow goes, on God Key is definitely the best. Rose is definitely S tier. I will not accept the slander that is Rose being bad. He is not bad. He's extremely good if you know how to use him. The fact that he can bleed almost any character and chip, he does immense amounts of chip damage. The fact that he has 15% chance to take a Dragon Ball away from you every time he uses a strike card is also extremely strong. He nullifies endurance. He has a type neutral blue card similar to this Vegeta, but maybe with less of an impact. He has a cover change. He just does a lot of things that are really good. He's just not a highly sought after LF because he released at a weird time in the game where it just felt wrong to release him, and they kind of gimped him by releasing him. I believe they released a Zenkai that completely invalidated having him on the team. Considering that the purple future Vegeta provided a lot of support abilities, a lot of people went with him over this Rose. But Rose is extremely good. I will not accept any slander. That's where I'm leaving him. Vegeta Blue. Vegeta Blue is A tier. He's not going to be higher. He's not going to be lower. I believe he's A tier. He's not as good as the units above him, and he's not worse than Beerus for sure. Yeah, so Vegeta Blue, king of the meta at one point for maybe 3 months. Right now, he's fallen away. Obviously, he's been replaced by Ultra Gogeta, and there's not much else to say. It's just that his lack of damage and defenses just keep him back. His kit is still really good. Farming up rushes, blast armor, cover change, remove buffs with green card. All the good stuff that you expect from an LF, and once he gets a Zenkai, I have no doubt in my mind he would definitely be a Z+ tier unit and a permanent mainstay on the Fusion team and Future team. So once he gets a Zenkai, he's going to be the king once again, unless they decide to maybe gimp him heavily, purely because they don't want a repeat of what happened when he released. Broly, yeah, actually I'm gonna move Beerus to C tier, honestly, because I believe Broly is actually better than Beerus, even though Beerus has a Zenkai. Broly, honestly, he's really fallen off quite a bit, a lot more so than people actually believe. At high stars, you don't really see much of a loss in damage, purely because people run him with Super Saiyans rather than on movies, which is expected considering that he's a very strong Saiyan. Once this guy gets rolling, he's extremely strong, and he's a very dangerous unit to be around. Honestly, this guy is the 1.0 version of Corrupted Zamasu, and he does it extremely well. He just gets no buffs when he comes into a match. He doesn't get any damage inflicted buffs by just straight up coming into the match. It does take time to build up, which in this meta is way too long. If you're not coming in with like 100% increased damage, you're not doing damage at all, and this is the fact. So he's going to be a B tier for me. Gogeta is A tier. I know a lot of people like Gogeta, but he's not an S tier unit. He just doesn't tank at all. His damage can be decent at a certain point, but I would much rather use this Vegeta over this Gogeta. Honestly, his ult is probably the one thing that I would give to him as being really good. His ult is like a nuke once you've completely built it up, and it's a really strong ability. His drawbacks are obviously going to be his green card counter, which is just pathetic. Landing a green card counter is so rare that you feel like it's an achievement by actually doing it, which it shouldn't be. That with the recycled animation that he uses when he cover changes normally from strike cards is also pretty bad. He does everything really well. Once this guy gets a platinum equipment, maybe similar to SSJ4 Gogeta, I can see him being bumped up maybe to S, maybe double S tier, but I would leave him here for now. Obviously, it's not going to be everybody's opinion that he is going to be here. A lot of people really like him, think he's S, maybe double S, even Z, but for me, he's only going to be A tier, and I would really like to see this guy return to some prominence because he does have some pretty good animations. Okay, Blue Vegeta, Future Vegeta. He's definitely D tier, worst unit in the game at this current point in time. Nothing much else to be said honestly about him. He just needs a Zenkai. He's been around for a very long time. They've been holding his Zenkai back purely because of his ultimate ability that locks people in. They've been very scared to Zenkai characters that have lock-in abilities. Honestly, at this point, we'd have probably seen a yellow transforming Gohan from the BoJack movie. The yellow one got a Zenkai if at this point, if they allowed that. Probably even Green Bardock would have gotten his Zenkai if they had allowed that. So yeah, he's waiting for his Zenkai. They're saving his Zenkai for something. I'm not sure what they exactly. Maybe maybe they want to do an Ultra Vegito, or maybe a new LF Vegito that does fusion, and then they Zenkai this guy. But yeah, He just needs a Zenkai. His kit's really good. If he gets a Zenkai, I can see him being double S tier. Maybe even Z tier, honestly, because he gets card draw speed, he gets everything. Heals, does immense amounts of damage. He's just really good. Majin Vegeta. Majin Vegeta is heavily underestimated as well. Honestly, I would actually really say that a 9-star Majin Vegeta is better than a 14-star Goku. But I'm going to leave him in A tier purely because this Goku provides a Zenkai ability over this Vegeta. And that's purely it, honestly, and the counter, obviously. But this guy is extremely good. He's also another forgotten LF that people really forgot. He's really good. It's just that not many people use him because now he's been replaced by Future Trunks here. But he's extremely good. I would love to see him get a Platinum equip and come back. Because the amount of damage he does is staggering. It's really staggering once you have him at a 9-star level. UI Goku. UI Goku is like C tier, honestly. He's really bad. Honestly, this UI Goku used to be super annoying, and he still is because of the unique gauge. Honestly, players that know how to utilize him really well can really work him like properly. But because he has no defense, you can probably like use one blue card from Goku and Vegeta, probably even Bardock, and vaporize him. So he doesn't fit the meta anymore. He's just too fragile, purely too fragile. No Zenkai he's not getting a Zenkai anytime soon, purely because of that unique gauge. They don't want to. They probably want to make him really irrelevant before they bring him back. So he's gonna be there. Future Gohan. Future Gohan is definitely not double. He's only S tier. He's not double S. He's not Z. He's not Z plus. People really overrate this Gohan, and that's purely because of his endurance. He literally is only on the team to cut the combos and then stall for time until you get your other units in. He doesn't really do that much damage, and he's a very annoying unit because of his sealing abilities. But as a unit himself, like looking at damage and defenses and whatever, he's not anything above S tier, and that is a fact. People who say he's above this really don't understand which units on their team are good and which are bad. And speaking of the good and the bad, this guy is double S tier. I would not accept any slander for Kid Buu. Kid Buu is one of the most slept on units in the game. He can control the entirety of the game and the field if you leave him out there long enough and you have a bunch of green cards, because he restores 60% of his Vanish. On top of having a really fast Vanish recovery, he restores 60%, so he's gonna stay out there for a really long time. He gets Ki back, he inflicts you with a debuff, so he does more damage to you. His ultimate hits really hard. He just doesn't have a cover change, which is very unfortunate, but he's a really, really strong LF, and I will maintain the fact that he's better than Gohan. LF Frieza has really skyrocketed in value over these past couple of months. Post his release, no one really used him outside of the initial honeymoon period that they had. But right now, considering that he nullifies endurance, he has blast armor, he was the foremost unit to hold down Goku and Vegeta, especially the Goku variation of it. And considering that he gets his Vanish back on main ability, yeah, so he does have a lot of good stuff in his kit, but he falls prey similar to First Form Frieza, where his team isn't giving him enough to let him shine, which is unfortunate. Gogeta is definitely double S tier. Nah, he's probably Z tier, honestly. I would actually put him in Z tier purely because of his platinum equipment. You take away his platinum equipment, he's probably like S tier. Yeah, he's probably S tier, or maybe even A tier without his plat. Because of his platinum equipment, he's getting like 70% increase in damage to both stats. Both offensive stats, and then he's getting defenses. You know what his platinum equipment does, right? He's like the main reason why Revival Gohan was like quote-unquote nerfed, because he gets 4 Dragon Balls against Revival. He's the foremost anti-Revival character in the game, and his value has skyrocketed since they've released his platinum equip, so he's obviously going to be there. Zamasu is only going to be A tier. Yeah, he's only going to be A tier purely because he just doesn't tank very well. The meta right now is purple and blue, and with a lot of red units, especially now, he's not going to be as good as he could be. Give this guy maybe a couple of months, maybe 3 months, let the meta change up a bit, and you'll see this guy come back. He'll probably be B and S tier because of his green card, his blue card. I believe he locks in with his green card and goes neutral, which is perfect for rushing people. One of the foremost reasons why he's one of the better AoE users in the game, similar to this Vegeta. But yeah, he just doesn't tank as well, which is kind of unfortunate. But he fulfills his role as a damage dealer, which is nice. Gohan. Gohan is a double S tier. A lot of people forget about this Gohan, which is unfortunate. A lot of people have him at high stars because of the Hybrid Saiyan Apocalypse, as I like to call it. He's really good, double S tier. We all know why. It's because of the revival. He has been put down a little bit because of this Gogeta, but he's still really good. And given the fact that this guy can one-shot this Gogeta given the chance, it's honestly not that hard to see him being in Z tier. Considering the fact, but yeah, double S tier for now. Obviously could be Z tier depending on where you run him, but for right now, because of his Hybrid Saiyan team being so hardly kept down, he's only going to be double S tier for now, which is really, I'm really conflicted about this unit being S or double S, but I mean Z or double S. You know what, I will leave him in Z. I believe he is Z. He does a lot of damage, revival. He does a lot of good things. I don't believe he's really changed that much. Only the meta around him has changed, and honestly, he could probably wipe out the entire rest of this board by himself, given the chance. So yeah, he's definitely Z tier. I retract my original ranking and put him at Z for now. Vegeta, double S, honestly, one of the most annoying Saiyan releases in recent memory, because you are honestly, you run this guy with a Super Saiyan 3 and Angel Vegeta, and you have yourself a really deadly combo. You can tank 2 rushes, assuming he doesn't get nullified with that rush. He has AoE, he does extreme amounts of damage with his blue card. He does extra damage to blue characters, which is a first for an LF or any character, I believe. He does a lot of good things, but his ability to keep up in the meta has been heavily distorted, obviously because we all know purple and blue run things now, and it's going to be like that for a little while longer, considering that they are not releasing too many units right now. Obviously they want to let these guys shine, so yeah, he's really good. It's just that the meta right now is not in his favor. Goku. I still believe this Goku is not that great, honestly. Even with his platinum equipment, it's not on the same level as Gogeta's, and at most you can make the argument that he's S tier now, even with the platinum, but I still don't believe he's really good. He's obviously, his role on his team has been replaced by Majub, because even though this guy has a cover change with entrance transmission, you much rather have the Oob over there to tank a rush regardless of when it is, rather than having a one-time save. Honestly, I don't see much of this guy, on enough of this guy to give a complete comparison to Oob, because a lot of people just either bring Oob and just leave this guy on the bench to buff the rest of the characters, and I honestly never see GT anymore. I just really don't. So yeah, he's going to be an A tier, maybe S tier. You can make the argument for S tier and I wouldn't be opposed, but personally I just don't like this Goku compared to maybe an other yellow unit. So yeah, I wouldn't be mad if you left him here. It just depends on how you feel about him. Cell. Cell is honestly, a lot of people underestimate Cell as well. Cell is really good. His team of androids is just lacking buffs like a lot of the other teams, such as LOE, Super Warriors, Girls, all that stuff. Cell is really good. His major drawback is obviously going to be his unique gauge taking super long to charge up. If they increased it by maybe like 40%, maybe 50% to get his gauge up, it would obviously be a big help to get that damage. But as a character, he's really good. He has a lot of good stuff in his kit. His LF isn't one of the best lookings in my opinion, but yeah, he does do a lot of good things with his kit. And honestly, one of the reasons why he's really good was because he gave extra damage, or had extra damage against the Hybrid Saiyans, even though he wasn't the foremost damage dealer to them. He did provide a little bit of a pressure, providing pressure to that team. So yeah, he's S tier. He's better than this Goku, that's for sure. Other people heavily underestimate Cell until he comes in and completely destroys them. And honestly, from last year, he's probably the most fun LF I've had. and that I've pulled and have had fun with in PvP especially. And that's considering that there's a lot of LFs that released last year that were really good. I think the only one that would maybe trump him is probably Kid Buu, because he's just super busted and really good. Okay, let's go with the obvious guys right now. Trunks is definitely Z tier. He's not Z plus. He does a lot of good stuff, but you really need him at high stars for him to shine really well. You need a good support, another 2 support characters for him that are both Future or Vegeta family for him to activate his endurance, which kind of sucks, so it limits him. You cannot run him on hybrid Saiyans, which is unfortunate. But honestly, running him on Future or Vegeta family is perfectly fine. He's not going to be Z plus because he just doesn't have that overwhelming presence. So yeah, he's only going to be a Z tier for me. Goku, definitely Z tier. Honestly, Goku, the Goku version of the Goku and Vegeta, or the Goku variant, is I believe a lot weaker in my opinion than the Vegeta variation. Purely because this is like the original version where he's weak against red units. Yellow units. Why am I thinking red? He's weak against yellow units, similar to how all characters behave that are purple. So his ability to be useful is normally restricted in that sense, where people normally just switch in the Vegeta variation to handle it, and they usually just leave in the Vegeta variation, considering that most people are very afraid to bring in green units. Don't underestimate this Goku version. He's honestly really good. He's Z tier, but when it comes to the Vegeta variation, he doesn't hold a candle, because Vegeta honestly does so much more damage than this Goku. It's really strange at how they work that out, but this Vegeta version is way more powerful than this Goku version, and I maintain that, because this Vegeta, once you lose that green unit, you can just leave in the Vegeta version and you can literally just heal any damage that they throw at you. But yeah, so honestly, the Vegeta version is Z plus tier, best unit in the game in my opinion. People want to argue Ultra Gogeta, but it's not Ultra Gogeta. This Goku and Vegeta is way better than Ultra Gogeta. And this is coming from a person who has Ultra Gogeta and gone up against these guys. Yeah, you guys are way better than him, and it's very slanderous to say that they're not. Bardock is very disappointing. Honestly, I feel like they released him as a cooldown, but yeah, he is really good, but not really good, if you know what I mean. He can tank really well, and he's basically the de facto counter to Goku and Vegeta, but it's fickle in the way that that you can use this guy. He needs death. He needs an allied dead to activate his endurance, which you can nullify, honestly. So yeah, he's really good. His animations are really solid, but he's not on the plane of anybody above here. Honestly, he's S tier purely because of his ability to provide Z ability buffs and HP to Saiyans, which is really strong. But being restricted in his kit really does hold him back. And hopefully in future we do see him increase in value, similar to future Gohan, this full power Frieza, Kid Buu, all these guys here that were initially suspected of being really bad, but honestly over time just increased their value. But anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know what you think of my tier list, where you think units fit in the meta based on your personal opinion. Let me just say this is in my personal opinion of where I think units fit, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. My name is Hydrax. I'll catch you in the next one.